Hi, in this video I'm going to briefly show you how to build a linear model in R. I'm going to be using the MT cars package. That's M as Matthew, T as in Tom, cars. Sorry, not package, but data set that's already included in R. That way you can follow along at home without having to download any external data. You can just pull that up by just referencing MT cars like so. You can see it's a data set of 32 different car types, and we have the miles per gallon, cylinders, horsepower, so on and so forth. So the model I'm going to build is going to be a model that predicts the gas mileage, MPG, as a function of number of cylinders, horsepower, weight, and type of transmission, which is the column AM. Value of 1 in that column stands for a manual transmission. Value of 0 stands for an auto. So the first thing you want to do is give your model a name. I usually just call it fit, but you can call it pretty much whatever you want. The basic function for a linear model is LM. And then you want to type in the dependent variable, which in this case is miles per gallon, or MPG, then the tilde sign. And then we actually want to treat cylinders not as numeric, but as a categorical variable, or in our lingo, a factor. So to do that, you just type in factor and then enclose the variable name like so. Then just to add more explanatory variables, just type in a plus sign, and we want to add in horsepower, weight, which I believe is coded as tons in this data set. And then once again, we want to just treat transmission type as a factor. And then once you're done adding those, just type in comma and then reference the name of the data set, which is MT cars in this example. So what you can do is just run that if you want. So R will actually run the model for you and not show you any of the estimates. To get the results, you have to type in summary and fit, or the name of your model. And so you can see we have that here. You get all the coefficients, standard error, t-value, p-value with stars. You can see r squared here. So if that's all you need at this point, you can just copy and paste that into Excel, do some light formatting, you're all set. In the future, I'm actually going to post a script on my site, dataanalysistools.net, where you can actually export a table like this directly into Excel, and it'll all be cleaned up. But this is supposed to be pretty brief and basic, so I'll leave that to next time. But so if that's all you need at this point, then you're pretty much done. But a really cool feature that you can do in R, and of course also in a package like Stata as well. But you can just actually predict what the outcome variable will be for new information. So just to give you an example, let's just pretend that I'm looking at cars and I find a car that I like, but for some reason I don't know, the dealer doesn't provide me with the MPG. Or I just don't know it somehow. But I do know the number of cylinders the car has. I know the horsepower. I know the weight, and I know the whether it's a manual or an auto. What we can actually do then is predict. Okay, based on this model, what would the predicted MPG be? So in order to do that, we have to build a new data set that has the sort of fictional car in it. And you can do this for any number of rows. So, if we had 5 cars we wanted to look at, we could do that as well. But for now, we'll just include one. So I'm just going to call this new data set new.data. You can call it whatever you want. And it's going to be a data frame. And then we just input the values of this car that I'm looking at. So let's say I'm looking at an 8-cylinder car with 300 horsepower, weight of 3 tons, I imagine. And then a transmission, let's make it a manual transmission. So you just run that. It'll give you a new data set with this fictional car that we're looking at. Now, to actually append that data set with the predicted MPG value for a car with those specs, we would just type in new data, $predict. That's just the label of the column that I'm going to give it. You can call it whatever you want, actually, but let's call it my new car, whatever. And then we use the actual function predict. That's an actual function. So it has to be, you have to use that exact language. And it's technically, you could just leave it at that. You should, I guess, technically add in .lm, but it's not strictly necessary. But then what we want to do is insert the name of the model, which was fit, once again, and then the name of the new data set, which is new data, and then type equals response. I won't get into that, to what that type means. In my experience, I've almost typically always used response as a type, but if you want to look into what all the options are, you can start by typing in $predict.lm, and it will show you what all these options mean. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that. Let's look at our new data again. You can see it added on a new column there at the end. And so basically what this is saying, so for a car with 8 cylinders, 300 horsepower, 3-ton weight, and a manual transmission, the model predicts that the miles per gallon would be 16.2. So that wraps up this tutorial. Hope it was useful. Please visit dataanalysistools.net for more tips and tricks. Thank you.